Alright folks, we have returned. Looks like I'm going to get to go to this next case for free. The heart of the matter. The deputy mayor's been murdered. Matthew, I am still stunned that the upstanding Leopold Rochester is in prison. How could Leopold besmirch the Rochester family name with those fake Concordia Telephone Company bonds? At least Charlie saved the day by turning the Concordia Telephone Company into a real enterprise. He has single-handedly assured prosperity for all the people who invested in those bonds. This calls for a celebration. I'm afraid celebrating will have to wait. The deputy mayor has just been murdered in her house. Murdered? Matthew, take Bon Temps with you and go to the deputy mayor's residence immediately. I already collected my rewards for today. I know I got a little bit mixed up because I thought this was going to start on a Wednesday, but instead it's, at least, I thought it was going to start on a Thursday, but instead the 5th was actually a Tuesday, and I had a dinner that night. Typewriter and cat. Bam. First star already. Got me another. My word, I never thought I'd see the deputy mayor in this state, and in her own home. Oh, my Sandra, look what they did to her. I presume you are the victim's husband? Senior Trooper Matthew will speak with you in a moment, but we must look over the clues we have found. Please step aside. I do understand his distress, Matthew. Deputy Mayor Huang's heart has been cut out of her chest. But why would the killer steal her heart? Perhaps these broken shards could tell us. We'll only know for certain if you piece them together. The deputy mayor's position in Concordia makes this a high-profile case, Matthew. We must solve it as quickly as possible. And we will. And I'm gonna get some stars, so sit tight, everyone. But first of all, I think I'll talk with Stephen Huang first. How could something like this happen? Who would do such a thing? Mr. Huang, we understand that you are in shock, but can you tell us anything about what led up to this terrible event? Sandra, she was not home all evening. She was at a fancy party, a masked ball at the Dufall Mansion, something for the richer citizens of Concordia. And you didn't go with her? No, big functions are not my cup of tea. What happened after Mrs. Huang returned home? My Sandra kept to her usual habit of hiding herself away in her study. I didn't hear her see anything out of the ordinary. I see. We are truly sorry for your loss, Mr. Huang. We may need to return to your home as the investigation continues. But first, Matthew, we will go to the Dufall Mansion. We must retrace Deputy Mayor Huang's final hours from the party to her murder.
And baked with our wholesome Quaker oats to help keep you going. Help satisfy your morning hunger with every single bite. Quaker Breakfast Flaps.
Save on the latest flooring styles at Lumber Liquidators. This week, take an extra 10% off Woodlook waterproof floors with coupon. Get pre-finished hardwood to 35% off, more from 49 cents plus special financing. Hurry, get to Lumber Liquidators today.
Shop smart and save at Dunbar's Labor Day sale. We're the only place that can scientifically fit you to a mattress. And right now, save up to $600 on Stearns
Aha! Faded card, jelly, cello, box of items. See the banana peel. There we are.
What kind of rates would I get if I joined it?
We might start you at $27 a month. Just the horse rate you keep your car moving. Nothing more, nothing less.
And I got me enough. Well, I got me a chips anyway from the cat. I'm still considering getting the monkey though. Matthew, this appears to be a business card. With your Justin kit, you may be able to uncover another party goer. And you're right. Something important may be hidden in this box of party supplies. A rummage through it certainly won't hurt. No, it won't. And now I'm going to get some stars. Sit tight, everyone. I should have a lot of stars by the time I finish. Okay. I have 17 stars, so let's take care of everything.
I'm sticking to my decision.
You threw a priest out of the house. You disgust me. I'm gonna go sit in my tea.
Okay. Was the message on the mirror you pieced together written in blood? Frightful.
You have relatives who threw priests out of windows.
The message reads, I was careful not to let a single drop of blood fall on the floor. Clearly the killer wrote it before they smashed the mirror to pieces. But what could it mean? I'm quite sure Evie can tell us.
Oh my God, George, you know what this means?
White wine with dinner?
Do I look like I'm laughing? You read this
Case
note.
42 now.
If Kevin Kelly doesn't play in Saturday's game, Dorothy Z sleeps with the fishes.
Dorothy, please, give the kid a D.
Oh, come on, Ron. It's just a prank.
Oh, Dorothy, I don't think you realize the significance of football in the South. I've had men break dates with me to go to football games.
Alright,
Come on,
faded
nobody's
card
gonna kill
now.
me over a high school football game.
They killed this fish. Dorothy, please, I'm scared.
All right, Mom. Nothing to be scared about. I'll change Kevin's grade. I mean, this isn't worth it.
Alyssa Melody Event Planner.
Thought it could make a difference.
This business card belongs to a certain Alyssa Melody. That name sounds familiar. Ah, yes, quite right, Matthew. Miss Melody was the party planner we met back in Elysium Fields. If she planned this party, she could be a valuable help to the investigation. We must speak with Miss Melody immediately.
It keeps you from having to choose between one or the other. That's why Capella University reshaped online education. Our self-paced FlexPath format lets you take as many courses as you want each term for one flat tuition. The faster you
Miss Melody, we assume you acted as party planner for this masked ball? I did, and I cannot believe it happened again. The major event of the season for Concordia's best and brightest, and someone ends up dead. I see you still have your priorities sorted. Did you notice anything particular about the deputy mayor while she was here? No, she left quite suddenly. No one could find her anywhere. Can you imagine? Leaving one of my parties in such a rush? Where else would anyone want to be? Okay, and party costumes now.
Right now, get our lowest prices of the season. $10 off 1 gallon cans and $40 off 5 gallon buckets. The Home Depot. More safe, more doable.
I just always act out my birthday.
Cufflinks. HR. Those are some rather fancy cufflinks you found in the party supplies, Matthew. Each is engraved with the letters HR. It's not much to go on, I agree. Perhaps you can find the owner of the cufflinks with the jewelry insurance registry. It's worth a look. To the airship.
It cracks me up. But one laugh, and hello,
Okay, there's
sends
two.
a letter. Ring a bell? Then you have to try Always Discreet. I didn't think protection this thin could work, but the
Cufflinks right now.
turns liquid to
I'm going to be electric 12 stars.
protection that's surprisingly
In total, I would have had 24 stars.
Man, out of mind. Always Discreet for bladder leaks. Also in liners.
There we are.
Let's go for a ride in Peloton. Let's go grab a
Still got the 9. Horatio Rochester.
Let's go make a personal best.
These gold cufflinks you found in the mansion were insured for 1,000 Concordian shillings, and Horatio Rochester insured them. We must speak with Mr. Rochester at once. He was obviously at this mass ball, and you may have pertinent information about the victim's final hours. Okay. On his presence there. Mr. Rochester, we're glad you're still here. We have a few questions for you. Of course I'm still here. The Dufall Mansion is one of many Rochester properties in Concordia. Besides, I threw the smash ball. Oh, you did? Then I suppose you knew that Deputy Mayor Sandra Huang attended. She has since been murdered. Oh, I see. It's a Rochester roundup, isn't it? Leopold isn't enough for you, eh? You won't rest until we're all behind bars. I had nothing to do with the deputy mayor. I asked that the Concordian elite be invited to the ball, but I could not speak to every guest. Now take your investigation elsewhere. Well, Horatio Rochester is as unpleasant as ever. You're right, Matthew. We will not let that stop us. We will solve this murder no matter what. And I'll see you guys when these two are finished. Alright, we have returned. Let's get the results of the bloody message first. You have quite the literary killer to chase, Matthew. The quote on the mirror you pieced together was from Edgar Allan Poe. Ah, yes. I thought it seemed familiar. Poe's stories always terrified me as a lad. Then you know that that quote is found in Poe's short story, The Telltale Heart, all about a gratuitous and gruesome murder. The narrator has murdered an old man and then believes that he can still hear the old man's heart beating. It's pure genius, really. Poe truly knew how to sell a story. Yes, so the quote on the mirror is from The Telltale Heart, and the deputy mayor's heart was removed from her chest. With that, it is safe to say that the killer reads Poe. Something tells me that the killer's love for the Gothic master will be their undoing. Yes, they will. Yes, it will be. Okay, and now the autopsy. Matthew, I knew people weren't particularly fond of Deputy Mayor Huang, but this was truly a heartless murder, pardon the pun. That said, it was not the removal of her heart that killed the deputy mayor. As the bruising on her neck attests, the deputy mayor was first strangled, most certainly with a rope. The rope wasn't of the rough hemp variety, however. The bruises lacked sharper definition, indicating that the murder weapon was made of softer fibers. You will need to keep an eye out for it. Her heart was then removed. It must be important to the killer, for some reason. I do hope that you find it as well. So do we. Were there any other leads? Well, when the killer removed the heart, they left traces of red wine, citrus juice, and orange rind liquor in the chest cavity. These are ingredients for the cocktail called sangria. So the killer drinks sangria. Seems fitting. The name of that cocktail is believed to come from the Spanish word for blood, sangre. And surely the killer's hands are red with the blood of Sandra Huang. They will not escape us, Matthew. I require a situation report, Senior Trooper Matthew. What can you tell me about the investigation into the Deputy Mayor's murder so far? Well, we have a handful of suspects. The Deputy Mayor's husband is among them. He claims that he neither heard nor saw a thing, despite being home at the time of the murder. And then there's Horatio Rochester, who claims to have had nothing to do with the Deputy Mayor, despite her having been invited to the masked ball. I see. Matthew, I cannot stress enough the importance of it. I'm terribly sorry to interrupt, but I think you need to come back to the Dufall Mansion. There's something in the courtyard. Matthew, I think it's a bomb. What? And we're going to have to find out if Ramirez is right after this. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's start Chapter 2 of The Heart of the Matter. I require... Skip all this first. I think there's a bomb in the courtyard. A bomb? Matthew, you must head back to the Dufall Mansion immediately. Right, Constable Ramirez. Where is this bomb? Shh. Listen. Tick-tock. You can hear it, can't you? By Jove, I can indeed hear ticking. Matthew, let us search the courtyard at once. Okay. Oh, I just wasted one. Open notebook. I really thought this pile of leaves would be a clue. Unfortunately, it was not. Matthew, the ticking sound is coming from this locked wooden box. This doesn't look like a bomb, but you should still be careful while unlocking it. This golden crown must have come from the party the deputy mayor attended. Something is written on it, but I can't make out what it says. Your dusting kit will show us everything. And this notebook has a message. It reads, quote the parakeet, too cheap, too cheap. My word, that's terrible. Is that supposed to be a reworking of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven? But you're right, Matthew. We know that the killer reads Poe. Perhaps a sample of the substance near the poem can tell us more about who wrote it. I'm going to take care of everything now. Larry the Magnificent. The writing on the crown reads Larry the Magnificent. Larry? Well, we do know one Larry who would partake in such delusions of grandeur. I'm sure you remember him, Matthew. That ne'er-do-well was a suspect in the murder of Clarissa Rochester. Of course, if Horatio Rochester threw this ball, his nephew would have been invited. And if he was present at the party, we must question Larry Rochester immediately. And let's see what Larry Rochester has to say. Larry Rochester, we found your crown outside and we were wondering if I needed to take a moment for a little fun and relaxation after you put my father in jail. As a matter of fact, I did. Ah, yes. Leopold Rochester is your father. We can see you miss him terribly. Did you happen to notice or speak with Deputy Mayor Huang before she left the party? Why should I even consider helping you after what you have done to my family? Deputy Mayor Huang was murdered. Any information you have could be of great help to the investigation. Great help? I could be of great help. I say, isn't that something? Now you need a Rochester's help. I didn't see or speak with Deputy Mayor Huang. Satisfied? Now I am on to see if I can have my sangria glass filled to the brim. I do hope you will have removed yourselves once I return. C. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. There we are. 1, 5, 5, 2, 2. Boy, this is really, really tedious. 1, 1, 9, 2, 5. saints preserve us. That box didn't hold a bomb, but a beating heart. But how could the heart still be beating? This is simply impossible. I refuse to believe this is sorcery. Let's send this heart to Richard at once. And the open notebook. There we are. Bravo, Matthew. You have a sample of the substance from the notebook with that so-called poetry. Perhaps a quick look at the substance under the microscope will tell us what it is. There we are. Asthma medication. Why, the substance you found on that notebook is asthma medication for inhalation. And you're right, we know just a person with such a condition. Archie Rochester was using his inhaler the other day at the Ascroft races. So Archie Rochester was at Horatio Rochester's party as well? This definitely merits a conversation. Archie Rochester, we take it that you were at the masked ball this evening. We found your poetry notebook. And you were so stunned by my ability to outright Poe himself that you had to speak with me in person? Hardly. We're much more interested in whether or not you saw Deputy Mayor Huang before she was murdered. Of course I didn't see her. It was a masked ball. Honestly, I had a bit too much sangria. I wouldn't have recognized her, masked or otherwise. That said, masked would have been preferable. Huh. Deputy Mayor Huang, what was she doing in such a position anyway? A woman of her stature. Someone must have felt sorry for her when they gave her the job. Ah, Archie Rochester, our conversations with you grow ever more charming. Seeing you guys, and this is finished. Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's get the results of the beating heart now. Matthew, you did indeed find the victim's heart. And did you discover how it could still be beating? It was still beating because someone installed clockworks inside. It's all a bit over my head, to be honest. Clockworks? In a heart? That sounds like Charlie's department. Indeed, and I'm over the moon to tell you about the mechanism. The 4 chambers of the Deputy Mayor's heart were connected with an elaborate system of gears and small hammers that enabled the heart to appear as though it were still beating. What is clear is that the killer knows clockwork mechanisms well enough to have either devised or followed instructions to create this fascinating system. You say fascinating, I say horrifying. You're right, Matthew. Our clockwork hobbyist killer definitely wanted us to find this heart. What sort of sick mind would orchestrate such a thing? What we know for certain is that the Deputy Mayor's heart was removed at her residence. We should return to the crime scene. Okay. There we are. And I just got the first star. What is this broken frame holding? If you repiece it, we'll have a far better idea. There's no telling what you might find in the rubbish, Matthew. As well as we know, please look through it quickly. There could be a clue. I do hope that the killer has left another surprise for us so that we may catch them all the quicker. Why, the broken frame you repaired held a picture of the deputy mayor. And she's shaking Horatio Rochester's hand. But he said that he never had anything to do with the deputy mayor. Horatio Rochester is hiding something, and we're going to find out just what that is. Mr. Rochester, you claim that you never had anything to do with Deputy Mayor Huang, yet we found a photo of you shaking her hand. Yes, well, I suppose I have a duty to correct. So much for enjoying another glass of sangria in peace. I was an ardent supporter of Deputy Mayor Huang. I helped the Deputy Mayor's campaign. I believe that a new face was needed in Concordian politics. We had no idea that you were so taken with the local political scene, Mr. Rochester. It was mostly financial support. Of course, when she won, I was there to shake her hand, as were many others. Now, if you're quite finished with your sport of hunting Rochesters for the moment, I'll be off. Moment, everyone. Okay. Going back to Google Chrome now in case I get a coin to share. Porcelain Angel. Who would throw such a lovely porcelain figurine in the trash, Matthew? This porcelain angel is holding 2 little wedding rings, and the inscription says Happy Anniversary. Porcelain is the gift for 20 years of marriage, is it not? But did our victim throw it out, or did her husband? We must speak with Stephen Huang again. What does he have to say? Mr. Huang, Senior Trooper Matthew found this anniversary gift in the rubbish of your wife's study. Did she throw it away, or did you? Fine, I threw it away. Sandra's ambition was tearing our marriage apart. I had planned a fancy dinner for our 20th wedding anniversary. There was lobster, steak, even sangria. But she left me alone at home and went to this fancy party to advance her career instead. I ask you, what man wants to spend his wedding anniversary fixing his grandfather's cuckoo clock and reading an old musty copy of Poe's collected works? No man, that's who. I tell you, I had had enough. Enough of staying home alone all the time. Enough of feeling like an afterthought. Mr. Huang, please calm yourself. You are quickly talking yourself into becoming our principal suspect in the murder of your wife. And he's now possible. I am terribly sorry to drag you back to the courtyard, Matthew, but I needed some fresh air to clear my thoughts and help me see our case with new eyes. But the fresh air isn't helping me figure out who could have strangled Deputy Mayor Huang and cut out her heart. It would appear that 3 members of the Rochester family are among our suspects: Horatio, Larry, and Archie. We just arrested Leopold Rochester for his part in the telephone company bond scheme, and now we have a whole crop of them pop up in this murder investigation. What is it about that family? Perhaps another look around would... I'll see you for Chapter 3. Okay, folks, we have begun Chapter 3. We're about to begin Chapter 3 now, at the heart of the matter. And as we saw at the end of the last chapter, that's what happened. Bontemps was hit in the face with the cake. Oops! I'm terribly sorry, Detective Bontemps. Miss Melody, you have just assaulted an officer of the peace with cake. Explain yourself. I was aiming for Archie Rochester, that louse. And you were right to throw that cake. It was awful, just like your whole party. Like all your parties, you incompetent little... Why, I oughta... Hello. Did you see that, Senior Trooper Matthew? She hit me. You deserved it. Please, both of you, calm down. Calm down? Did you hear what he called me? Don't worry, Senior Trooper Matthew. I won't press charges against Miss Melody for now. I am going to seek medical attention. What a night. First, the Deputy Mayor was causing strife. Now, Archie Rochester. What about the Deputy Mayor, Miss Melody? You must explain this remark to Senior Trooper Matthew immediately. Got 4 stars from the last crime scene. Miss Melody, what did you mean when you mentioned the Deputy Mayor? Deputy Mayor, Schmeppity Mayor. I didn't even want her at this party. I wanted the real mayor to come to the ball, but the Deputy Mayor reminded Castletown about some fishing trip he planned. She shoehorned her way in. I know that no one in their right mind would want to miss a party I planned, but she complained about everything all evening long. Her mere presence made the place feel like a Poe short story. She ruined the atmosphere. I dare say the Deputy Mayor fared far worse this evening than you did, Miss Melody. Far worse. Speaking of which, I agree, Senior Trooper Matthew. We found the Deputy Mayor's heart in this courtyard, and we would do well to inspect this area further to solve this murder. Torn painting. Clock tower sketch. There we are. And once again, I get the first star. Matthew, this appears to be a torn painting. I'm sure you'll have no trouble piecing it back together. And is that a sketch of a clock? Perhaps retrieving the faded writing would tell us more about it. All eyes are upon us. We must wrap up this investigation as quickly as possible. Deputy Mayor with all kinds of devil additions. Why, this is a portrait of the Deputy Mayor, but it's been defaced. Look at the horns and that mustache. I agree. We must find the person who defaced the Deputy Mayor's portrait and I bet that Diego can help us. Nine hours. And the clock tower sketch. Archie's notes. Matthew, is that a life-size replica of Archie Rochester coming out of this clock like a cuckoo? I swear that young man's ego is completely out of proportion. And what about the other note on the sketch? You will rue the day, Huang. You will rue the day, Huang. What did Archie have against our victim? And what does any of it have to do with this clock? I agree, Matthew. It's time we talk to young Archie again. Archie Rochester, Senior Trooper Matthew found a fascinating sketch of a clock. Would you care to explain? My beloved clock tower, my fantastic idea for the city center, my way to say thank you to Concordia for welcoming me home. Your thank you was a clock tower with an effigy of you coming out of it? Every hour on the hour, yes. I studied clockwork mechanisms while I was in Switzerland, a fascinating subject. I am certain that it is, but your love of clockworks does not explain the threat we also discovered on the sketch. You wrote that Huang would rue the day. Which day? The day she denied the creation of this masterpiece. She said it wasn't what the city needed. That Philistine? What could she possibly know about art? Nobody in Concordia appreciates my genius. It's almost enough to drive me away again. Don't you dare try to leave Concordia, Archie Rochester. We have our eyes on you. My outside thought is the husband's behind this, but we'll see what happens. I'll get all the stars, and for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Okay, folks, we have come back, and let's get the results of the defaced painting from Diego. Matthew, what a pleasure to delve into the psyche of the notorious defacer of this portrait. Most pleased to have provided you some amusement, Diego. What did you find? Well, from the harried and messy strokes, you are dealing with someone who enjoys getting in their cups and staying there as long as possible. And the horns show a complete disregard for authority and disrespect for honest labor. This person may have never been employed in their entire life. So you're saying that the person who defaced the deputy mayor's portrait was a drunkard who has never worked a day in their life? You're quite right, Matthew. That description fits one of our suspects perfectly. It sounds exactly like Larry Rochester. We must go speak with Larry Rochester at once and demand why he defaced the deputy mayor's portrait. Okay. Larry Rochester, Senior Trooper Matthew has reason to believe that you defaced the portrait of Deputy Mayor Huang. She deserved it. You wouldn't believe what that woman did to me. What did she do to you? Surely it couldn't have been so terrible. Sandra Huang offered me a job, a municipal job. It was such a horrific prospect that I thought I was trapped in a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, work? Me? I'd rather go back to helping my Uncle Horatio with his infernal clocks. Let us get this straight. You were upset enough to deface a portrait of the deputy mayor because she offered you gainful employment? Yes, and when she saw it, you should have seen her face. It was priceless. She ripped the portrait to pieces. Well, this may seem hilarious to you, Mr. Rochester, but your viciousness toward the victim will not be forgotten, I assure you.
Folks are scrambling to make their plans, and hopefully they have, because we are expecting strong winds as it does make its way.
Matthew, how close are you to finding the deputy mayor's killer? If the press catches wind of this before we have a handle on it, they will have a field day. We understand, Chief, and we very nearly have the guilty party in hand. You'll excuse me, my suspicions rest mainly on the deputy mayor's husband. Although, to be fair, the deputy mayor had a unique gift in making all sorts of people angry. Idle speculation is not helpful. We need answers. Well, Chief, we do know that the killer returned to the party after the murder. In that case, I highly recommend that you return to Dufall Mansion and investigate further. Hop to it. Yes, sir.
The web of corroborations and our sources are really shaky.
And I want it in my hand by 6 o'clock tonight. Those low rent slot prices are gonna be careful. Damn it, Francis. You told me we had an absolute lock on this thing.
Okay.
What is this? 4 times a month. What's the killer story? It's too late. She was burned 2 million copies.
She's in the meeting right now. Would you kindly have a seat, Mrs. Fletcher? She'll be with you.
Okay. Now, let's see. Do I see any clues? Chocolate bar. Locked trunk.
I'm sorry I didn't mean to mind, but see, things are pretty hectic.
There we are, green blade. And I get the first star right away. I'm gonna try to get some more money. My word, Matthew, that stone blade is covered in blood. Do you think it could be the instrument used to remove the deputy mayor's heart? Collecting a sample of the blood from the blade will clear up any confusion in the matter. Please hurry. And a locked trunk at a masked ball, I suppose, may only hold party favors, but we'll only know for certain once you open it. Matthew, we promised the chief a speedy end to this murder investigation, and I can sense that we are close to solving the mystery. We sure are. Splendid sample collection from that stone blade, Matthew. Now let's get this blood to Viola. This is 15 hours. And I will have the results tomorrow. U16. Whew. Just got the 9 in time. There doesn't seem to be anything of import in this trunk, Matthew, apart from that rope. You're right. Richard mentioned the deputy mayor had been strangled with a soft rope. This one certainly fits the description. If the killer used this rope to strangle the deputy mayor, then surely collecting some of that dry substance will help us catch them all the sooner. Please hurry. With the sample you collected from the rope, we're bound to have more evidence. Let's rush this over to Viola at once. I'll see you all then. 9 hours. Thank you all for watching. Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's get the results, both of the blood samples, starting with that. Matthew, I have excellent news for you. The sample you collected from the stone blade contains some of the deputy mayor's blood and lung tissue. The blade was most assuredly the instrument used to cut out Huang's heart. Smashing! Were you able to find any information about the killer from the sample? Indeed I did. As we know, Deputy Mayor Huang's blood type was O negative, but there was another person's blood in the sample, and it was A positive. And since the only other person who could have cut themselves so recently on this blade was the person who removed her heart, the killer has an A positive blood type. The killer may have A positive blood, but they will fail in getting away with this crime.
Give me an example.
Besides the presence of crazed glass, as proof that an accelerator was used,
And the particles now. Matthew, the sample you sent me confirmed your suspicions. The rope you collected it from was indeed the murder weapon. Those are skin cells, most of which belonged to Mrs. Huang, no doubt scraped off her neck while she was strangled. But I also found different skin cells coming from another person's palms. How could you possibly know that the skin was from someone's palms? Skin from the palm of the hands has ridges. That's why we have fingerprints. Whoever left the skin behind was pulling the rope very tight, no doubt to strangle the deputy mayor. So those palm skin cells belong to the killer. Sadly, a tincture for preventing the infection of scratches impeded me from being able to obtain the killer's genetic material. But at least we know the killer has been scratched, and quite deeply. The scratch will still be visible without a doubt. So our killer has been scratched recently. They will learn at the cost of their freedom that some itches should be left alone. We have everything we need to arrest the evildoer who strangled the deputy mayor and cut out her heart, Matthew. Let's go. It is not the husband. Okay. Then that leaves Larry Rochester.
Are you saying that that's not true?
if the fire started this way, then we're going to against fighting together.
Larry Rochester, you're under arrest for the murder of Deputy Mayor Sandra Huang. You must be joking. Why would I go to such trouble over her? I'd rather ask myself why you would have touched the murder weapon otherwise. We found the tincture you are using to heal your scratches on the rope used to strangle the deputy mayor. Surely I can't be the only person to use this tincture. But we have reason to believe that you are the only person who could have left sangria in the deputy mayor's chest when you removed her heart. Nonsense! You left your blood on the stone blade used to cut it out. The game is up. You're quite right. I did kill the deputy mayor. But why? Your Uncle Horatio helped her campaign. Ha! Do you think he did it from the goodness of his heart? She was supposed to help my family in return. Kwang has been working for us, distracting officials and making sure they kept their noses out of Rochester business. Deputy Mayor Kwang was corrupt? Yes, but then my father got arrested for supporting my clever bond scheme, and suddenly Sandra grew scruples. Your clever bond scheme? Do you mean you were behind the Concordia Telephone Company swindle? Please don't tell me that you thought my father could have masterminded such a thing. It's true that he was always going on about how investing in telephones meant investing in the future, and about how I was doing nothing with my life. One day it dawned on me that I could not only make my father believe that I was finally making something of myself, but that I could also make tons of money in the process. But of course I also knew that I wouldn't even need to create a real company. I just needed to make people believe that the Concordia Telephone Company was legitimate. I let my accomplice handle the details of creating and distributing the bonds, while my dear old papa gave me all the publicity I needed. The doddering fool had no idea it was a scam until it was too late. Then he took the blame for me, as I knew any good father would. But Kwang said that she couldn't bear to see an innocent man rot in jail. She said that if I didn't turn myself in, she would. So you strangled her. But what of her heart? Why did you remove her heart? I did hope it would muddy the waters of your investigation, or at least scare you away. You should know by now that nothing scares Senior Trooper Matthew away from an investigation. You're under arrest. Larry Rochester, you are before the court on charges of murdering Deputy Mayor Kwang by strangulation. That is correct. I don't know what makes me angrier, the fact that a city official was working for the Rochesters, or the fact that you murdered her. Your family is very lucky that this corruption cannot be formally proven beyond your claims, Mr. Rochester. If the people of Concordia cannot trust those elected to public office anymore, what is left for them to trust? Boy, that ship sailed a long time ago for people in Hawaii. You Rochesters think that you can buy anyone you want. Well, you cannot buy Justin Lawson. This court hereby sentences you to 50 years in prison. 50 years? We may not be able to buy you, Judge Lawson, but everyone else in Concordia has a price. And no one walks out of my family once they've been paid for. No one. Matthew, I would first like to congratulate you on solving this dastardly crime and arresting Larry Rochester. And by arresting him, you have also proven Leopold Rochester's innocence in relation to the bond scheme. Clearly, he had no idea the telephone company he endorsed was fake. I am happy to say that he has been cleared of all charges. In fact, there he is. How are you, Mr. Rochester? Pleased to be out of prison and heartbroken that my son was hell-bent on going there himself. It is indeed a shame, Leopold, but the important thing is that you are free and justice was served. That is good news, but please, Senior Trooper Matthew, know that my son is not a reflection of the Rochester family. What Larry told you about the deputy mayor working for us, I have no idea what he was talking about. We would never dream of bribing anyone. Certainly, I know that you are an upstanding citizen, and do please give my regards to your lovely niece Bernadine. Senior Trooper Matthew, I got here as fast as I could. Is all this news about the deputy mayor true? I swear to you that I had no idea that Sandra was corrupt. This will not happen again, not on my watch. And not with the Concordia Flying Squad to assist you, Mayor. Let's take a look at the other ones, and this looks like we're going to be going to another district after this. Archie Rochester, no scratches. Stephen Kwang, B negative blood. Eliza Melody cleared from the start. Horatio Rochester cleared early. Larry Rochester is the guilty party. I'll see you guys for a Run for Your Money 6-6. And we have returned. Let's start a Run for Your Money 6-6. Senior Trooper Matthew, as delighted as I am to have proven a good man's innocence, this day has not been kind to us. Not only was the deputy mayor murdered by another member of the Rochester family, but we've also learned Sandra Huang had been in the Rochester family's pocket for who knows how long. This would already not be a good press day for us, but now I hear that her husband is raving about sorcery playing a part in her murder. I do not want the press getting a hold of this sorcery nonsense, Matthew. You need to go talk to Mr. Huang. Never fear, Chief. We shall speak with Mr. Huang as soon as possible. Excuse my barging in, Matthew. I need your help with a delicate matter when you have a moment. Viola, I'm sure Matthew and Madeline will be of help. As for me, Matthew, I shall wait for you to speak with Mr. Huang. Let's talk to Viola first. Matthew, thank you for coming. I need your help. As you know, I have been searching for my biological father, using the genetic material I found on his cup, and then comparing to every clue you have gathered in your investigations. Has your research yielded any results so far? Well, today I got my hands on Horatio Rochester's cufflinks to get some of his genetic material, and I tested them. It seems to be a match. Viola, are you saying that Horatio Rochester is your father? I know that it beggars belief, and that's why I need to run more tests with a better sample. I contacted Eliza Melody, the woman who planned the masked ball, and she told me that Horatio Rochester was wearing a skull mask at the party. Well then, Matthew, let's all go to the Dufall Mansion to look for it. Tally-ho! A lot of candles over here, unless that was in the crime scene before. Skull mask. Okay, playing card, oh, dice, peanuts. Okay, let's see. Mouse, kiss, cocktail shaker. Candelabra, rose, and a mouse. Good. Why, this must be the skull mask Horatio Rochester was wearing, Matthew. Viola, are you sure that you want to go through with this? I fear that you will regret it. Yes, I'm sure, Matthew, but I'm so nervous that I'm shaking like a leaf. Can you take a sample of the hair on the mask for me? And let's examine the skull mask now. Looks like I'm going to get a hair sample, and we'll find out if Horatio Rochester really is the father of Viola Pemberton. There we are. Matthew, here's hoping the hair you retrieve from the mask will help me determine whether or not Horatio Rochester is my biological father. We're here to help in any way we can, Viola. Good luck. see what Stephen Huang has to say. Mr. Huang, we have heard that you have a strange new theory about your wife's murder. You do know we caught the culprit, don't you? Yes, Larry Rochester. I knew that family was pure evil. They're in league with the devil, I tell you. Everyone says so. They stole my Sandra's heart to appease the demons they work for. My word, that is a strong and highly illogical assertion, Mr. Huang. Have a look around the study again. If you don't believe me, I'm sure you'll find a trace of their allegiance to dark forces. Surely you cannot be serious, Mr. Huang. You must try to rest while we inspect the study. I'm sure that Senior Trooper Matthew will find no proof of anything supernatural. Okay. Bucket of coal. A padlock. Drawing compass. Yep. Vase. A wave. Hanger, sword, shoe, clothes iron, kettle, and glasses. I swear it feels like those glasses are always in every crime scene, and they look a lot like Charlie's glasses, or even Harry Potter's for that matter. Did the talk of the devil spark your interest in fire and brimstone, Matthew? Is that why you wish to look through that bucket of coals? I have a hard time taking Mr. Huang's claims of sorcery seriously, but if you have a hunch about finding anything in that bucket, I support your endeavors. A worn medallion. You found a gold medallion in a bucket of coals. That is odd. The medallion seems to have something engraved on it, but I can't make it out. Perhaps you could apply your dusting skills to reveal the mystery. There we are. 5 energy only. Why, that's a pentagram on the medallion you found amongst the coals. A sign of the devil indeed. Did Larry leave this behind to scare Mr. Huang? Or is there perhaps something to this rumor of the Rochesters being in league with demonic forces? Of course I don't believe in such hook'em, and I don't believe we get an honest, and I doubt we get an honest answer from Larry Rochester. Very clever, Matthew. Lady Highmore is privy to all high society gossip. If the Rochesters are rumored to dabble in the occult, she'll have heard about it. Let us speak to her. Senior Trooper Matthew, what a pleasure it is to see you. I do hope I am not yet again a suspect in a murder investigation. Not at all, Lady Highmore. In fact, Senior Trooper Matthew and I need your help in verifying a rumor running around about the Rochesters. Oh, the Rochesters. I noticed Larry Rochester has gone behind bars, as you say. What of them? Well, according to some people, the Rochesters are in league with the devil. Oh my, that rumor has been going around for ages. I'm sure it's due to the Rochesters' outrageous wealth. Then again, I'm fabulously rich, and no one has ever accused me of demonic dealings. What I can say is that their enemies do not last long. A few have conveniently met grisly ends under very strange circumstances in Grim Chapel. All the deaths have been labeled as freak accidents, but denizens of Grim Chapel are adamant that this is the work of the devil. But Senior Trooper Matthew, I wouldn't go there if I were you. Grim Chapel is a ghastly place. Distract yourself with this gift instead. Okay, folks, we are back. Sorry, guys, my tablet ran out. This rumor of the Rochesters being in league with the devil, poppycock. But you have a fair point. The Rochesters have proven to be a troublesome bunch. If their so-called enemies are disappearing into Grim Chapel, perhaps we will have to investigate further. And I'll let Horace... As a matter of fact, you know what? I feel in a good mood, so I'm going to speed this up. Because I am anxious to know if this is a match for Viola. Oh, Matthew, I think I may faint. What did you find, Viola? Well, I tested the hair you collected from the mask in the DNA machine. And the genetic material from the hair matches what Matthew gathered from the cut. Horatio Rochester is indeed my biological father. Dash my wig! But how could Horatio Rochester and your mother ever have crossed paths? That is precisely what I intend to ask her. Matthew, I could use your support. Please come with me. Mother, I have undeniable scientific proof that Horatio Rochester is my biological father. Don't you dare deny it. Oh, my poor child. I have feared this day since you first started sticking your nose into this. When I was young, I was hired as a maid in the Rochester household. Horatio was very hands-on, as it were, with the help. When I became pregnant, he fired me and made me promise to never tell a soul about us. He will never admit to being your father. Well, he has no choice now. There's no escaping science. Science does not matter one whit to a man like Horatio Rochester. Secret knowledge will prove much more convincing. At the mansion, there is a safe. The proof you need is inside it. But do this with no expectations of love from that cold-hearted beast. Never fear, Mother. I will find that proof at the mansion, and he will be forced to face me. But first, I could use a little something to eat. Such a discovery really takes a lot out of a person.
There must be a toothbrush inside from Lily's DNA that I could use to make a positive ID.
Plastic impact box right where the victim's head was. Sugar stood over her and fired straight down.
And right to the stones and starts to destroy it.
Okay. Time to see the safe.
No, but I did. All this in the bathroom.
Spreading bubbles to me.
From the stash can. Rising sun is. So, she obviously didn't want
Diamond feather boa.
40 calls.
That has to be the safe my mother mentioned, Matthew. She said that the proof we needed to force Horatio Rochester to admit that he is my biological father is inside. Please open the safe as quickly as you can.
She had some spotting, belly pains. I did an ultrasound, examined her, and everything looked fine.
So you didn't notice a pelvic trauma in the muscle bruise on hers?
Of course I did. I told you, she fell.
On her face and her vagina.
Okay.
And you didn't suspect her?
Any sign of sexual assault or domestic violence, I call you witness.
Oh.
Hey, what kind of investigation is this?
ZBM. The UA9? Yes, it is. Oh no, NHQ. NHQ. There we are. This document you discovered in the safe must be the proof my mother mentioned. It reads, should Beatrice Woodard ever reveal that Horatio Rochester is the father of her unborn child, she will be exiled. Exiled? The Rochester family threatened to exile my mother if she told me that Horatio Rochester was my real father? That's outrageous. Well, one thing is certain, I must confront Horatio Rochester about all of this at once.
Courtesy Donovan Black. He blew the lid off this garbage by raping Sophia.
And Dr. Elroy is our only link.
I think it's time to put
two.
something tighter than a stethoscope around his neck.
We'll just lawyer up. Well, then let's subpoena the black cell number and see who answers the phone.
Buddy? Police are here.
Ah, Senior Trooper Matthew, you've put my nephew in jail and now you've come to gloat about it, I suppose. Mr. Rochester, my name is Viola Pemberton, and I have proof with me that you are undeniably my biological father. What do you have to say for yourself? I knew this day would come. No matter what threats I leveled against Beatrice, she wouldn't be able to keep her mouth shut forever. She never said a word. I discovered all of this myself as part of recent murder investigations for the Concordia Flying Squad. Murder investigations? My dear, are you saying that you work for the police department of this fair city? Yes, I am in charge of forensics and all scientific inquiries related to investigations. Well, Miss Pemberton, Viola was it? Let it never be said that I will not welcome my blood relatives with open arms. You accept me? You're not going to exile my mother? Certainly not. All water under the bridge, as it were, and I will never have it said that I am not generous to all of my children. Ooh, nice. That's a good discovery. Oh, Matthew, I can scarcely believe it. Horatio Rochester has all but officially recognized me as one of his own children. Viola, we understand your desire to rejoice, but doesn't it seem like a very sudden change of character for a man like him? Oh, pish-posh. Matthew, you saw for yourself how happy he was. I'm going to get some champagne and celebrate. Poor Viola. I fear that she is in for a great disappointment. Quite. After all, while we can't prove it in court, we know that her newfound family bribed a public official. Not to mention the rumors about some of their enemies being killed by the devil in Grim Chapel. I seriously doubt that the Rochesters made a deal with the devil, but... What is this nonsense I am overhearing about the Rochester family making a deal with the devil? What utter rubbish. Well, Chief, we do have reason to believe that they are involved with questionable activities in the district of Grim Chapel. Please, the Rochesters are pillars of the community. With all due respect, I feel that Larry's recent arrest for murder is reason enough to investigate further, Chief. Well, it's true that if anything is up with the Rochesters, I'd rather we learn about it before the press does. Very well, Matthew. Let's get this airship to Grim Chapel without delay.
Mr. Brooks is the guy in charge. We know exactly where he's going to be tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. come 3 more sticker packs. $153,779 is my current energy count. Six more cases in Grim Chapel to discover. September 14th. I think that's a Thursday, is it? Yes, it is. Three. Four new ones. Five new ones. Okay. Two new ones. And I gotta go collect my daily rewards after this. Okay, and I'll see you all then on September 14th. Thanks for watching.